It's May 19th, 2012. We're in Munich, Germany, where the Champions League final between Bayern Munich and Chelsea has come down to penalty kicks. Before Chelsea's Didier Drogba attempts a make-or-break shot, there's a lot we need to understand about how much this moment means to him and to this cluster of fans. We need to remember the important characters and unexpected events that made this moment possible. This shot means so much, so we've got to rewind. Okay, before we dig in deep, I want to make sure we're on the same page about what this is. Bayern Munich are playing in Munich at this big, fancy, brand new arena, but that's just a fortunate coincidence. This isn't a planned home match or anything. Their opponent is an English side, Chelsea. This is the Champions League. The champions! You can edit that out. So this competition has existed in some name or form since the 1950s, when it began with a simple premise. Have the champions of each European league face each other in a tournament to determine the champion of champions, one club to rule all of Europe. In the decades since, they've come up with a cool name, and they've expanded the league and format quite a bit. It's complex, but the important thing for us is that these days, it's not just for literal champions. Strong domestic leagues like the English Premier League and German Bundesliga get to send several of their best finishers to the following year's Champions League. That was good news for Chelsea and Bayern Munich. Neither finished the 2011 season atop their leagues, but both did well enough that they qualified to play a bunch of clubs from other countries in between their usual domestic fixtures this season. The domestic season went a bit better for Bayern this time around, with only rivals Borussia Dortmund outperforming them. Dortmund edged Bayern in 2 regular matches, topped them in the final standings, and beat them pretty soundly in Germany's DFB Pokal tournament final just a week ago. An extremely second-place domestic season for Mario Gomez and friends. Chelsea would love to say the same. Within England, the Blues had a pretty grim 2011-12 campaign. Young, brand-new manager Andre Villas-Boas took over a squad of aging stars chasing another title or two. They got off to a rough start. Villas-Boas alienated key veteran players like Alex and Nicolas Anelka. Chelsea piled up disappointing draws and dismal defeats. Longtime star Frank Lampard broadcast displeasure with his coach. By mid-season, Chelsea had fallen out of the EPL's upper echelon, dismaying circumstances for a club that had finished top 4 every year since 2003. Even in his debut season, Villas-Boas didn't get much leeway. Chelsea fired their overwhelmed leader in March, promoting assistant and former player Roberto Di Matteo to interim manager. Too little, too late, at least for the Premier League. Chelsea won the FA Cup, England's foremost knockout tournament, but they couldn't match that success in the regular table. Their astounding 6th place finish put Chelsea below the qualifying line for the 2013 Champions League. There's only one remaining opportunity to sneak back into next year's competition. This, right here. For all their domestic misery, Chelsea's had a hell of a run in this Champions League. It actually kind of mirrors Bayern's. In December, Bayern took care of Group A, while Chelsea won Group E. Both teams survived an early scare in the first leg of the knockout stage by winning huge in their second legs at home. Both had an easier time in their quarterfinals, and each faced one of the mighty Spanish superpowers in a dramatic semifinal. Late in their second leg against Barcelona, Chelsea clung to a narrow away goals advantage with the aggregate score even. They'd been down to 10 men since captain John Terry got sent off in the first half. Then, magic happened. Minutes after subbing on for striker Didier Drogba, newcomer Fernando Torres struck on the counterattack to make it a sure thing. Bayern slayed a Spanish dragon in similarly thrilling fashion. Their matchup with Real Madrid came down to penalty kicks, and goalkeeper Manuel Neuer carried them out of that final battle. Neuer pounced to his right to stop no less than Cristiano Ronaldo, then guessed correctly once more versus Kaká. When Madrid's Sergio Ramos tried to evade Neuer, he struck posts, allowing Bastian Schweinsteiger to punch Bayern through to the final. Now, here's Neuer, called upon to play hero once more. He's already saved one of these penalties when Juan Mata left Chelsea's first kick a bit too middle. If Neuer doesn't save another one here, Bayern will lose the Champions League final in Munich. The Bayern keeper relishes these moments. He loved stepping up for his team in Madrid. That recent success and a whole lot of research make Neuer feel confident he can outmaneuver the best of scorers. But I don't think Neuer expected to be in this position. It took some strange circumstances and surprises for the match to make it this far. To begin with, the Champions League here in 2012 has an extremely strict discipline rule. Each side played tonight without multiple important players, guys who'd been suspended because they accrued too many bookings in prior matches. Bayern's missing a crucial defender and a chunk of its midfield. Captain John Terry is one of a couple missing Chelsea defenders, and they've also played without Ramirez, who played a spectacular, critical role in each leg of the Barcelona semifinal. That partially explains why Neuer wasn't involved much before this shootout. Chelsea were overmatched, playing with some injuries in the backfield, and starting Ryan Bertrand out of position because of the suspensions. For most of this battle, they've been hanging back on the defensive. Ashley Cole and David Luiz flinging themselves in front of Bayern shots, and stalwart keeper Petr Cech containing nearly everything else. But to really understand how we got here, you need to recall the moments Bayern got through that desperate Chelsea defense, and thereby understand the missing faces from this lineup of kick takers. There's no Thomas Muller in this group. Muller was a big part of Bayern's first half onslaught that just couldn't connect. This miss wide off a plumb cross from Diego Contento exemplified that period of wasted opportunity. Finally, late in regulation time, Muller broke through. Unattended on the right side, Muller received a high cross from Toni Kroos and headbanged it home to put Munich up 1-0 in the 83rd minute. To protect that lead, Bayern subbed off Muller and replaced him with an extra defender, Daniel van Buiten. Obviously, that did not work out so hot, and Bayern had to take these penalties, regretfully missing the only guy who'd found the net. Well, I guess that's technically not accurate. Frank Ribéry is another Bayern scoring threat missing from this list of kick takers. Like Muller, he blew some chances in the first half. Like Muller, he got the ball past Cech in the second half, but in his case the offside flag was up. Sorry. That's not why Ribéry's missing though. He's gone because this Drogba tackle during extra time hurt his ankle. Just kinda clipped him from behind. You can't do that. Ribéry limped off the field. The refs awarded Bayern a penalty kick for the foul, and that responsibility fell to former Chelsea star Arjen Robben. Interesting choice because Cech maybe knows how to read his old teammate. He had already made this incredible save on Robben in the first half. On the penalty, Cech guessed correctly and dove to stuff Robben once more. That was enough for Robben to be left out of Bayern's initial shooting quintet here. None of these shots were his. This one was Ivica Olic, the sub who came on to replace Ribéry and did take one and kinda biffed it. Easy save. Schweinsteiger followed that by trying to fool Cech with a stutter step. Didn't work.
Oh, hit the post!
So yeah, there is plenty of regret on the Bayern side as they watch this last Chelsea kick. Only Neuer can clean up the mess, and to keep Bayern alive, he'll have to save a second penalty. That's a lot of pressure, but nothing like the pressure on this guy, Didier Drogba. Drogba is up there among the greatest ever Chelsea players. The striker from the Ivory Coast joined the club in 2004 when he was 26 years old. Since then, he's scored way more goals than any other non-English-born player in club history. Drogba's led them to 3 Premier League titles, and the FA Cup victory earlier this month was Drogba's 4th. But Drogba and longtime teammate Frank Lampard have never won the Champions League. The closest they ever came was 2008, an event Chelsea fans absolutely do not want to hear about right now. 4 years ago in Moscow, the Champions League final was all English for the first time in its history. Chelsea faced bitter rival Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo scored early for United, but Lampard answered. The second half and extra time passed without another goal. As time wound down, everyone braced for decisive penalty kicks, with Drogba's name almost certainly among the top 5 for Chelsea. But he had been battling United's Nemanja Vidic all match long, and in the 116th minute, moments before penalties, Drogba got fed up and smacked Vidic in the face. Red card. Gonzo. Miserable timing. With Drogba watching from afar, Chelsea cruised through the first 4 penalties. Things were going fine. Then, the man chosen to replace Drogba stepped up for a 5th shot to win the whole thing. He took a short run up and whoop, fell on his ass, the ball squirting off into the post. A later miss consigned Chelsea to an all-time brutal defeat. Lacking a Champions League title because of that haunts Drogba, and this is almost certainly his last chance to overwrite his most famous moment in this competition. It's not 2008 anymore. Chelsea's golden generation had already begun to dissolve when, in late 2011, Drogba rejected an extension to his expiring contract. His agent stated quite simply that Didier would join whomever offered the most money, and everyone knows that's not going to be Chelsea. So, 4 years after one of his lowest career moments, 34-year-old Didier Drogba took the pitch for what is almost certainly his final game with Chelsea. One unexpected last-minute chance to perfect his legacy. Through most of this match, the opportunities were few and far between. With all hands on deck to stifle the Bayern attack, Chelsea only pinched off a few countering long balls to Drogba. This first half pass from Lampard was one of the first to find Drogba in a threatening spot, but the striker couldn't corral the high bounce. Chelsea went long enough without finding Drogba that Di Matteo brought Fernando Torres on once more. This time, Torres didn't replace Drogba like he had in Barcelona. They played together, an arrangement in which, remarkably, neither man had ever scored a goal. That changed. Before this match, Juan Mata gave Drogba a big pep talk. And in the 88th minute, when Mata lined up a corner kick, fate chose the target. With a powerful snap of his neck, Drogba headed in the equalizer.
What about that? Chelsea's man for the big occasion.
So Drogba has already left an indelible, incredible mark on his final match. Although I will note things haven't been great since. Near the end of regular time, Drogba insisted on taking a free kick instead of Lampard and absolutely airmailed it. The foul Drogba committed to knock Ribéry out of the game was a bad one, and it would have been devastating if Cech didn't save Robben's penalty. But the match made it to penalty kicks, and unlike the 2008 final, Drogba gets to take one, the big one. And not for nothing, he's faltered in this kind of moment pretty recently. Earlier this year, Drogba led the Ivory Coast into the knockout stage of the Africa Cup of Nations. In the quarterfinal against Equatorial Guinea, Drogba had an early penalty kick saved. He redeemed himself with 2 goals later on, but no such luck in the final. The final, against Zambia, should have been decided by this ugly second half foul in the box. But Drogba sent the resulting kick way north of the goal. That left the match to end 0-0, so it had to be decided by penalty kicks, where this Drogba finish off a short run-up wasn't enough for the Ivory Coast. Drogba had already squandered his chance to win his first AFCON title. And now, just months later, here he is. Another critical penalty kick, this time against Manuel Neuer, the keeper whose heroics carried Bayern Munich into this final in their home city. It was a bad season for Chelsea, not champion quality. But with what might be his final kick in blue, Didier Drogba could get Chelsea back into next year's competition. He could grab a title he's never won before. he could fix a blemish on his legacy. This means everything. Welcome to a moment in history.
It all comes down to this. One kick of the ball by Didier Drogba. Yeah! And it's the greatest night in Chelsea's history. Champions of Europe at last.
Thank you so much for watching. There's a whole bunch more Rewinder over here, including this episode about the Premier League.